Research conducted by the National Museum of American History of the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C., notes that the story of Betsy Ross making the first U.S. flag for General George Washington entered into the U.S. consciousness about the time of the 1876 Centennial celebrations, with the Centennial Exposition then scheduled to be held in Philadelphia. In 1870, Ross's grandson, William J. Canby, presented a research paper to the Historical Society of Pennsylvania in which he claimed that his grandmother had made with her hands the first flag of the United States. Canby said he first obtained this information from his aunt Clarissa Sydney, Claypoole, Wilson in 1857, 20 years after Ross's death. Canby dates the historic episode based on Washington's journey to Philadelphia, in the late spring of 1776, a year before the Second Continental Congress passed the first Flag Act of June 14, 1777. In the 2008 book The Star-Spangled Banner, The Making of an American Icon, Smithsonian Institution experts point out that Canby's recounting of the event appealed to patriotic Americans then eager for stories about the Revolution and its heroes and heroines. Betsy Ross was promoted as a patriotic role model for young girls and a symbol of women's contributions to American history. American historian Laurel Thatcher Ulrich further explored this line of enquiry in a 2007 article, How Betsy Ross Became Famous: Oral Tradition, Nationalism, and the Invention of History. Ross was merely one of several flag makers in Philadelphia, such as Rebecca Young, who is historically documented to have made the earlier Grand Union flag of 1775–76, with the British Union Jack of the Crosses of St. George and St. Andrew, in the upper corner canton and 13 alternating red and white stripes for the United Colonies, for the Continental Army, along with many other ships' colors, banners, and flags which were advertised in local newspapers. Rebecca Young's daughter Mary Young Pickersgill, 1776–1857, made the flag of 15 stars and stripes in 1813, begun at her house and finished on the floor of a nearby brewery, delivered to the commander of the fort the year before the British attack of September 12–14, 1814, on Fort McHenry in Baltimore, during the War of 1812, receiving a government-issued receipt for the work of two flags, a large 30 by 42 foot, 9.1 by 12.8 meters, garrison flag, and a smaller storm flag, then seen by Francis Scott Key, 1779–1843, and which inspired him to write the poem which later became the national anthem, The Star-Spangled Banner. Pickersgill's small 1793 rowhouse is still preserved in East Baltimore's Old Town neighborhood at East Pratt and Albemarle Streets and is known as the Flag House and Star-Spangled Banner Museum. Occasionally over the decades, there has been some controversy and disagreement between the relative merits and historical accuracies of the two flag-making traditions and historical sites in Philadelphia and Baltimore. It is thought that Ross's only contribution to the flag design was to change the 6-pointed stars to the easier 5-pointed stars. Scholars, however, accept the claim by Francis Hopkinson, a member of the Continental Congress who designed most of the elements of the Great Seal of the United States, that he created designs for the early U.S. flag. Hopkinson submitted letters to Congress in 1780 requesting payment for his designs. Hopkinson was the only person to make such a claim in the Revolutionary War era. Griscom met John Ross, nephew of George Ross, Jr., signer of the United States Declaration of Independence, who was the son of the Reverend Aeneas Ross, and his wife Sarah Leach, a Church of England, later Episcopal, priest and assistant rector at the historic city parish of Christ Church while being apprenticed to upholsterer William Webster. The couple eloped in 1773, marrying at Hugg's Tavern in Gloucester City, New Jersey.